Hi, well I'm Deborah. Today I wanted to just talk very briefly about primers. Okay, so who uses a primer on their skin? It's something that I never used to use. To me, really putting makeup on is a little bit like decorating at home. Now my dad, decorator, loves decorating. Used to, when got my first house, used to go on and on about the right tools. Preparation was key, so we had a sanding block. We'd rub down the paintwork, we'd make sure we filled any holes, sanded them down lightly, make sure there was no dust, to make sure we had a really good surface before we'd actually get out there and start painting. Now, not only did it give us a really smooth surface to put the paint on, but it also meant there was a really good layer for the paint to adhere to, so a really good key to make the paint last longer. Now, makeup's quite similar really, in that if you don't look after your base, you haven't got a good foundation under which to apply everything else, then it's never going to look great. So if your skin's got lots of spots and it's not very smooth, the foundation or whatever you put on top is not going to look so good and not going to get that flawless look, and neither is it going to last as long without sort of well primed. So what do I do? Well, one of the first things obviously after cleansing is really do moisturise. It's so important. Now, this is the one I use. I do have very flushed skin. I suffer from rosacea, so this is a particular one that's great because it's a sort of multi-tone colour correcting moisturiser. It's really light and it lasts. There's an awful, little bit really does go very far, but it's also got a really high sun factor, and this is great if you can get a moisturiser that's got that. This is factor 35. Now that's a really good sun protection, which not only obviously stops you burning, it helps prevent the anti-aging process, but obviously you don't protect yourself from skin cancer as well. So it's really important that you use a good protection on your face. Now once I've done that, I've let that dry, and what I would then do is apply primers. Now there's a range of different primers. This is one particular one. It's really popular. It's the Magix Face Perfector, and it's got a factor of 20, sun factor 20, so that's really good. And I know this has been recommended by makeup artists as being a really fantastic velvety light primer. It really does glide on, and it has such a lovely feel, and it's colourless, so obviously it works for all skin colours really. However, said that, if you've got a particular pigmented skin, like I have, which is quite flushed, you may want something that has a colouring agent, and therefore I tend to use this particular primer, which is also from the Mark range. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, as you see, it's got a little compact with even a little mirror there as well. Now, just before I apply that, I will just show you a couple of other ones, because we do 4 different colours of these. This one here is the peach one, okay? And that's great if you've got a sort of pigmented skin, maybe to try and add a bit of brightness. And we do a purple one, which obviously is definitely I wouldn't want, because that's just going to highlight the redness. But that is obviously for somebody who's got quite yellowy tones and wants to brighten up their look. And there's also another colour corrector, which is the yellow colour corrector, to balance out the sort of blue and purple tones. So clearly I'm going to want to get rid of some of the redness. So I'll show you how light it is, and I just simply apply it with my fingers. It's up to yourself. I mean, it's a very light colour there. You can see that's not strong. Now look in the mirror as well, and that goes on really, really smoothly. It's not going to take away all the red, not at all, far too much of that, but what it does is it just feels so smooth, and it will help my makeup that I put on top last longer, but what it will also do is help just with some of those pores create a bit more of an even foundation really before I put my foundation on, a really good base. So that's the tinted primer. So you can see it's not, I don't look particularly green, but it's just taken a little bit off there. Now, because I have still got quite a lot of redness, what I also tend to use is a much stronger green. Now this is the Mark colour correcting stick. It's really soft and creamy. I'm going to stick it on my hand just so you can see how that, and you can rub it in if you want before you apply it, or obviously you can just go ahead. I'm looking at a mirror, so do apologise me as I look up here, and there's my worst areas, very typical rosacea, sometimes a bit around here as well, and then I'll just rub that in lightly, a bit more along here, and so particularly in this area, because this is where I get the worst redness all around the nose area. It isn't sunburn, it is just the rosacea. But as I say, some people have completely different shades of skin. That's why this gives you the option too. So this is actually a concealer. It's not just a colour corrector. It's actually a bit of a concealer as well. So it will help with any sort of blemishes that you've got as well. Okay, so that now is already at a distance. It looks a lot less flushed than it did. Obviously, I wouldn't go out looking like this. It is too greeny, but it will definitely make a difference when I come to put foundation on top. What you can also do before you do that is you can use a setting spray, and that will help make it last even longer. So it's an optional whether you choose to use that, but you just spray that over. I'll just put a couple of squirts on now, so at a distance, and then that will make it last even longer. So that's the different primers. If you've got any questions or you want any information, just come back to us. Thanks for listening.